Hi everybody, welcome back to our Daily Creative Challenge. Today is day 8. We're almost done, tomorrow's the last day. That is wild. If you are joining us, make sure that you say hello in chat. I'd love to say hello back to you. Samantha, good morning. Noor, good morning. Anna, good morning. How's everyone doing? Everybody got their breakfast drinks? Got my latte, as always. Little sippy. If you are joining us for the first time for the Photoshop Daily Creative Challenge, we are almost done. Tomorrow is our last day, like I just said, but we still do have 2 more challenges. So we have today and tomorrow, and then we'll take the weekend off and start a new one after that. Nora says, no red. No, wearing my classic jacket today. A little cold in the studio today. Oh, thanks, Carlos. Appreciate it. So if you want to check out what the challenge is for the day, you can join us on behance.net/challenge/Photoshop, and that is where you can check out all of the challenges that have already happened. You can watch the replays if that's helpful. You can even re-download the starter files if you need to. And then you can see what we're going to be doing today. So we're going to be designing a poster, which, yes, we are doing a poster a day, but today we're going to be specifically kind of focusing on graphic and type together, kind of a classic poster style. I'm going to be teaching you a couple different effects that you can apply to images and text. It's going to be awesome. Hello, Dee. Good to see you. Hello. Chair flips for days. Oh my gosh, chair flips? I don't think I could ever do any kind of flip, not even a chair flip. Farrig says, no breakfast drinks, it's too late for that. All right, maybe like a lunch drink, after dinner drink, perhaps some tea. Thanks for being styly. Of course, Carlos. If you want to join us on Discord, that is our community chat. That's a great way to stay in touch once the challenge ends. I'm not going to be hosting the next challenge, so I can stay in touch on Discord if you want to ask any questions, etc., etc. That is our community chat, and the link is bit.ly/ps_discord. Yes, perfect. I just love that blue. Every time I see it, it makes me happy. Good morning, Jennifer. Hello. So if you want to join us on Discord, this is what it looks like. You can check out what the challenge is every day. Sam has posted it. Thank you, Sam. I'll do a little ghost emoji. Why not? And you can also post your work here to get design feedback. So say you're working on today's challenge. Well, there have been a lot of messages since I last opened this. If you're working on today's challenge, you can post it here and people will come in, give you feedback. It's always helpful if you ask specific questions for critique. I know I say that every day, but it really is helpful, and it's kind of like a call to action for the people in the community to answer a specific question and something so open-ended as, what do you think? No, Kathleen, who will host the next challenge? Don't worry, Emily, you're going to be in great hands. I don't know if it's a secret or not, so I'm not going to say anything. You'll find out on Monday. Yes, I'll be back, though. I've done 2 challenges in a row. You've had 4 weeks straight with me. I'm sure you could use a break. Yeah, so we already have a submission from Mariedi? I'm not quite sure. Pretty name, though. Don't go, lay all your love on me. Very cool. Mixing graphic and type. I love ABBA. That's awesome. You can also just ask specific questions. So if you have technical questions or questions about design, you can ask them here. People asking about dimensions, prices for things, etc., etc. And don't forget to introduce yourself in the introductions channel. It is right over here. You can say who you are, where you're from, what you do, tell us your favorite color, etc., etc. What's up, Danessa? Sam Peterson, always good to see you. Hello. Okay. So let's say that you have joined us for the challenge, you've joined community chat, which is Discord, you're here for the live show. It's going to go for another 20 minutes or so. After that, we're going to be uploading our work to Behance, which is an online portfolio site. That's an awesome way to share your work with future employers and just your community in general. And then we're going to be showing our work on Discord as well. So very cool. Kita says, we don't need breaks. Cool, I'm glad. I haven't tired you out with too much Photoshop goodness. All right, so let's jump back into Photoshop. Like I said, we're gonna do something pretty classic just with text and an image and putting them together in a graphic design. This is what we're going to end up with. So I made kind of like a zine poster for San Francisco Zine Fest. It's called Spit It Out, a reptilian anthology. I thought that was pretty cool. We are going to be dealing with pictures of snakes, so if you do not like snakes, you might want to look away. That's just a drawing of a snake. It's not a photo or anything. Is anybody scared of snakes? I like snakes. I think they're cool. Okay, so let's go from this to this to this. And the first thing that we're going to do is jump into our template. As always, I'm just using the digital version because it's smaller, and that's all I want to do is print it, and that's fine with me. So we're going to come over here to our body color layer, and it's already a smart object, so I'm just going to double click and jump into it. Here we are. Let me just make sure that this is the right smart object. Yes, okay, we are good. So the first thing that I want to do is add one of our snakes. I just don't want snakes on me, Kita says. Okay, cool. No snakes need to be on anyone, just on our screens. So I'm going to go up to File, Place Embedded. Snakes are creepy, sorry. It's okay, you don't need to be sorry. I think they're still in my downloads. You can see all of the images I was trying to figure out if I wanted to use or not. Oh, this is it. Perfect. All right, so we have our snake. And you might have noticed in my finished product that I really kind of blew up the image of the snake. It didn't have like really the head or the tail involved. It was kind of just the nuanced idea of a snake with those curves and scales. So I'm going to size it up. I'm actually going to reference my finished piece to make sure I get my placing right. Okay, so I did have the tail. I'm going to rotate it. I did Command T to get my transform tools open. Move this around. Sorry, snake, you're upside down for now. Let's rotate this back. Cool. Alrighty. So this is a smart object, and I could just mask out this top piece, but I'm not too worried about working non-destructively today, so I'm going to rasterize it. Just select this top portion of the snake. Maybe. There we go. Just delete it. Works for me. Now to get this effect, where we have kind of a high contrast and a solid color on top, I'm going to show you how to apply a threshold effect to your images. Now, if you are familiar with threshold, it is in the adjustments, so image, adjustments, and then you find threshold from here. You can also find it in your adjustment layers settings. And this isn't a very complex filter. It's literally just like how much black and how much white do you want, how much contrast do you want in here. So I want it to really look like it was Xeroxed, it was printed, maybe screen printed. So I want kind of a lot of black in here. Looks good. Now you'll notice in my layer, we still have white pixels here. We don't want any white pixels, and I could just set it to multiply, but I don't want any transparency. So what I'm gonna do is what I've done the last couple days, just chosen color range, click the white, hit delete, and now it is gone. There's no more white box around it. Will says, hey Sam, I love your work. Yes, Sam Peterson's an amazing digital painter. You should definitely go check out his Twitch streams. Very informative and fun. I was hanging out in there yesterday. Okay, so we have a black snake, but we want a red snake. So we're gonna come up here to solid color, choose a bright red. Ooh, that's a lot. It reminds me of the Don't Tread on Me artwork. That's cool. And now we have a solid color fill on top of our snake, but we want the lines of our snake to be red. So what do you think we're gonna do? Do you have any guesses? If you've watched past challenges, you'll probably recognize making a clipping layer or clipping mask. So I'm just gonna hold Option and click, and now the black pixels of my snake are clipped to the red pixels of this solid fill. So now I have a red snake. It's that easy. Okay, I'll show you another technique for adding an effect to your snaky images. Let's go back to our snakes. I'm a snake. I have a lot of stock images downloaded on here. Alrighty. I'm gonna size it up like we did last time, holding Option and just dragging, kind of blowing it up. Not actually blowing it up, but Will says, I'm a newbie here, a YouTube guy. Very cool, Will. Do you make YouTube videos? Yeah, clipping mask, Sherry, you got it. You got it. Oops. Where am I? So I'm just gonna reference my final poster to make sure I get these curves right. Okay, the tail is on the bottom, pointing to the left. There we go. And for this placement, this is kind of a little hack. I'm gonna change my mode to multiply, just so I can see where I'm placing things. Kind of see through a little bit. All right, that looks good. I might even angle it a bit. Maybe size it down a little more. That's cool. Hit return, and then we're gonna get rid of this head at the bottom by rasterizing our layers and just erasing. That works for me. You could use the lasso tool and select and delete, but just showing a couple different ways to do things. Okay, so instead of doing the threshold effect, we are going to do a halftone pattern on this. So if you go up to Filter, Pixelate, and then Color Halftone, this small menu will appear, and I have my settings set to 6 pixels, and then all of my screen angles are 45 degrees. So let's click OK. It's that easy. We get this kind of fuzzy halftone pattern, and you'll see that all of the values of the snake are just made up of black dots. I could even come in here, make a brightness and contrast adjustment layer, and really make sure that there's no gray dots, that they are all either black or white. Pretty much. I think I prefer it without. That works for me. Okay, cool. So I like this, looks good. Now we can just keep this set to multiply. I'm not gonna have the white overlapping anything, so we're good to go there. So we have our graphic elements in here. Now let's add some type. I love this typeface that I'm using. I'm coming over here to the text tool, and then I am using a typeface from Adobe Fonts called Broken Script. And I have the condensed bold and the bold versions. It's almost like a black letter style. And I am going to click bold, click here to start typing, and I'm going to type spit it out, and my type is set to white, so let's change that to black. Spit it out. Let's increase our type size. Let's do, say, 64. And then let's make sure that this fits. So I'm going to reference my finished piece. This is how I set it up originally. So it looks like I used lower, oh no. Yeah, maybe I used the lowercase version. Let's retype it. Nope, I used the capital. Come on. There we go. Okay, so to get all of these letters to fit on my page, I'm going to jump into a little bit of typesetting. So over here in the properties, when you have a text layer selected, you will see all of these text options. So I am going to choose my letters, and I'm going to decrease the kerning, so the space between the letters. I'll maybe add a little bit in between these two words because I want an extra space here. And this is kind of really quick typography. It's nothing too special, but it is a good way to make sure your letters fit, make sure they are legible by decreasing the space between, but still leaving enough space so that you can tell that one letter is itself and it's not connected to another. So I'm going to add a little bit of space in here because that I and that T started to look a little bit like an N. Spit it out. Cool. I have no idea if these snakes are actually the kind that have venom. Probably not, but that was the idea behind the name, kind of like a spitting viper. What's up, Lindsay? Michelle says, I keep wanting to click on the toolbar in your Photoshop window. I know. I feel you. Or hitting like Command Z for me. That would be helpful. I like that you say typeface instead of font. Different things, Jason. You know. Okay, cool. So let's talk about hierarchy. We have our main title. So it is called Spit It Out, but we need a little bit of extra information, like what is Spit It Out? So this is when we're going to be adding more text. I'm just going to decrease the size now because I know I want it to be smaller. So this is going to be at the San Francisco Zine Fest. That gives us a little bit more information. Zine Fest presents. And if you don't know what a zine is, it's like a small publication that's really cheaply made. It can be about anything, and it's usually kind of grungy, definitely has a handmade feel. It's usually about a specific topic, so all about snakes, all about my summer vacation, that kind of thing. Alrighty, so we have the title, which is the most important thing, and then we have this kind of secondary information, San Francisco Zine Fest. Cool. It is smaller, so it reads as secondary information, but it's still important, so it's at the top. I'm even going to keep this bold and change these typefaces, or these versions, to the condensed bold, so that Zine Fest stands out even more. It's a small little tweak. And then down here at the bottom, we'll add our tertiary piece of information, which is what the zine is going to be called, or what it's about. A reptilian anthology. Okay. Now this will read third because it is at the bottom of the page, but to make it even more tertiary, to get that hierarchy really strong, I'm even going to change the color to red. So it's not super legible, it's not super important, but it's kind of like secondary, or I guess tertiary information. This is always good to think about, not only with type, but with imagery too. Like, what is your hierarchy? What do you want the person to see first? What do you want them to see second? Third, how do you want their eye to move around the page? So these snakes do a really nice job of creating some movement from the top, coming down. The tails are literally leading your eye, which is very helpful. You thought it was a kraken? Snake makes a bit more sense. Yes. How do you turn on smart guides in Photoshop? Danessa, if you go up to View, and make sure Show and Smart Guides is clicked or selected. And that should work. Okay, so here is our kind of finished design. Now we're going to do one more thing. We are back in our normal template. We're out of the smart object. We're back in the template so we see the poster number and everything. What I'm going to do is add a little more texture on top of everything to really pull everything together. So we have our smart object here. Let's make a layer on top of it. Make sure that my background color is set to black. And we're going to come up to Filter, Render, Clouds. And it's going to make this cool layer of just clouds. But if I come into my transform tool, so I hit Command T, let's make the width 300 instead of 100 and unlink our ratios so that this can be 300 and this can stay 100 instead of having them linked. This gives us this cool texture, and from here I can change the blend mode to add a little bit of texture on top, but let's make it even grungier. So I'm going to come up here to Filter, I believe it's Pixelate, yes, Mezzotint. And this is almost like throwing a threshold layer on top of your clouds. So you can choose grainy dots, coarse dots. Let's do coarse. Very nice. And as I come here through my blend modes, you can see it adds this nice kind of newspapery texture. So I'm gonna pick a pretty intense one. Lighter color works, and then I'm gonna decrease the opacity. And then we can play with a couple other ones to see how they work. Screen looks good too. So this is just a good way to add a little more texture to your imagery. I like lighter color. And now we even have that texture out here on the border, on top of the words and everything. All right, so I'm gonna come back here. You'll notice in my actual finished piece, I added a little bit more flair. So I added kind of a shape here, and that shape is repeated in both corners to kind of keep it cohesive. You'll see that nice textures on top of everything. Love it. So let's get this exported and uploaded. I'm excited to see what kind of things you make posters for. Is it for a museum? Is it for your birthday party? Yes, the font was Broken Script. Thank you. This is from Adobe Fonts. And if you have a CC subscription, you have access to it. It's included. All right, let's get this exported. We'll say day 8. Snakes. Not snakes, I hate snakes. Emma says, I'm a nerd and I take notes. That's so cool, Emma. What are you taking notes on? All of the different filters, maybe? So let's get this uploaded onto my portfolio. And as I do that, I'll let you know that we do have Adobe Live coming up after this. So we have more awesome graphic design following me. If you want more Photoshop goodness or Illustrator goodness, stick around. Amanda and Julia are going to be definite pros if you have questions about typography or laying out a print poster, because they are true graphic designers. Please feel free to stick around and listen to them. And then Howard's going to come on, talk about his daily creative challenge at 11:30. I wonder what his challenge is today. Exciting. And then Arsha will finish out the day with more XD. So we've got Photoshop, graphic design, XD today. Lots of good stuff. Let's say day 8. Print poster. And then tomorrow is our last day together. The last day is usually kind of like a culmination day or some sort of special challenge. So I'm excited for what we do tomorrow. It's going to be great. Oh, Emma's going to have a picture of her notes on Discord. Yes, can't wait to see. It looks too classy. Too classy. I think it looks pretty rough and tumble. It's kind of like an elevated zine. You watched Michelle watched Amanda and Julia's stream yesterday? Yes, they're very good. Cool, and in my settings, I have my discoverability set to PS Daily Challenge. So that way, when people search for the PS Daily Challenge in the search bar on Behance, they can find your work. Don't forget to post your work on Discord in the design feedback channel. We've already got some pretty cool designs coming in, even people working on previous days. So that's exciting. So post your work here if you want to get feedback before you post it to the public on Behance. I can't wait to see what you make. And then I'll be back tomorrow morning with day 9, our last challenge. Sad, but it's exciting. I'm proud of all of you. So stick around for more challenges and streams, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye, everybody.